Good evening, Jaggy SoCal with 2Old4Forza, and time for the next track guides for next week's race in the Porsche Macan. Next week we're going to be racing 2 circuits at Homestead, Miami. What I'm not sure of, well, at least I know one for one, and for this track guide we're going to be doing the road circuit. But I've asked, I want to get a little clarification on the other circuit at Homestead, Miami, because on the spreadsheet, or at least on the spreadsheet, and while I think Super Mini will be a lot of fun, Super Mini doesn't have pit lane, so I don't know if that's just one of those where we're going to just race, not do any quick stops, which is fine in the Macan. It'll do 60 laps on the Mini before it needs to refuel, and the race would be probably close to 50. And then tires, at least for me, I'm betting the right front would be a little over 20% by the end of the race. But so I'm waiting. I want to just make sure, before I spend time doing a track guide, I want to make sure that that's the actual circuit you're going to be racing. But anyhow, what we'll do here for this one, we'll do the Homestead road circuit, and I'll do an out lap, maybe a hot lap, and then just kind of talk what I'm looking for, what I try to do, what I think the Porsche with this Porsche is going to like, and then I'll run a mock race and see what we get. So here we go, test drive time. Down the front stretch here. This will be in 4th gear. Brake right before the pavement changes. And we'll be able to use a lot of the curbing on the inside. In this one, I definitely take different lines than what's suggested. I think partly it's just for me habit. But I also think the Porsche, because of the understeer, going to take maybe some wider entries into a lot of these corners. This is going to be the fun turn. All right, so we're gonna do the slow lap now, turn by turn. So you'll be in 4th gear for this. You'll be able to go flat out, gently arc it in. I've been staying off that curbing. Again, this is the one thing about Homestead is the curbing is actually very, very forgiving. So we're going to be able to abuse the curbing a lot here. Usually, though, I do tend to stay off that curbing a bit. It's flat anyway. Let the Porsche come back out. Braking at speed is probably going to be about here. Again, you get the very obvious pavement color change. That line is too late. If you're going to brake at that line, you're not going to make the corner. You'll brake a little bit before that, and the braking line is pretty accurate there as well. But if you can't see the braking line, just know, look. You should be able to see where that pavement changes, and just when you get in rhythm, you'll know, yep, I got to brake by this point. It is a downshift to 3rd. Again, because you're still kind of turning to the left and exiting the first turn off the speedway, just be careful you don't get too wide and drop tires in the grass on the right side. That at worst, you're just going to probably keep going straight into the infield grass at turn 2 here, or you just get it on the grass enough where then it'll kind of pitch the car sideways as you try to turn in for the next corner. So make sure you give yourself a little bit of room. Again, this is 3rd gear, brake. this I've been hit or miss. Again, you're going to be able to use a lot of this curbing, and it won't upset the Porsche at all. Um, so you can cross over if you need to. Back in, still in third gear. Now, my braking, if I can't see the braking line, I'm looking at these, again, because we've got nighttime option. I don't know, might run this at night. That might be, all the way. You didn't specify that, but is there nighttime here? I'm getting sidetracked. Anyhow, the infield lighting system here. Usually, when those lights go out of view, right about here is where I'm going to be braking. And this is partly for me. This is where I will deviate from what the braking line guidance here. I tend with this Porsche, I tend to get all my braking done in a straight line, and then release the brakes and turn in. Where with the braking line on, I think their approach is more of a trail braking in. And though I think at the end we're well, I think I'm taking this way different than the line suggests. So I'll do threshold braking in a straight line, and then release the brakes and turn in and take a late apex here. Again, if I was in traffic or if I had somebody behind me, that does kind of open me up for someone to take a look. So if I think someone's behind me or is close enough, I may follow the braking line a little more religiously, just to kind of cover the inside a little bit, drive a little bit defensive. But for me, let me get back down to first. I'm trying to actually do a late apex here so that I'm pointed. I'm practically pointed. So I'm exiting on the left side, pointed straight down. Again, for me, the way I understand how this Macan handles, because it understeers and because it's hard to really get it turned, I want to be able to open up this next turn as much as possible, so I can get on the gas and get as much straight line down the next straightaway. So again, I'll compromise the exit of this corner to get it on the left-hand side. Accelerate up. I think I'm still. Let's see. No, we're in second gear at this point. And again, this is where the braking line. Excuse me. Shouldn't do these so late at night. Out of the next turn, I think the guidance of the braking line is to kind of cross in the middle, and then into this next corner. So it's taking like a shallower entry into the next corner with a late apex. I think with me, I prefer, whenever possible, of taking as wide of being as wide out as I can for the entry. So again, on my own, this would be the line I take. If I've got somebody behind me that might be threatening, I may cheat a little bit more to what the actual braking line shows to kind of cover the inside. But if I can't see, since I'm so far off what the braking line guidance is, I'm using these tire tracks here in front. I guess maybe there was a drifting exhibition here, but I'm using this set of lines here. As soon as this, right about here is where it's crossing in front of me, is what I'm using as my reference to do a quick jab of the brakes to slow the Porsche down. And then turning in, I'll probably turn a little bit earlier than what the line suggests. But again, you can eat a lot of curb without risk here. And if you can kind of see how on the inside of the curbing, you can see where the grass is kind of worn away. It's kind of the patch there. In theory, it's showing where people are doing what I'm doing right now, which is I'm going to abuse the curb. And I'm not afraid to get the right sides on the other side of the curb to get this Porsche through the corner. It will be about here that I'm going to be rolling back and getting back to full throttle at apex. And depending how I exit, I'll exit out here. And again, I'm going to use as much of this curbing as the game will let me, maybe even a little bit of the grass, and get the car back out onto this, the first of the two infield straights. For me, the exit, I'm only going to bring the Porsche out maybe about mid-track. And again, thinking defensively, racecraft, if I've got somebody close behind me that maybe gets a better run, fine. I'm just going to park it in the middle here and let them figure out what side they want to go, try and pass me on. If they want to go way to the inside, great. You're going to be way to the inside. If you're going to be the outside, at least I'm in the middle. I'm not completely compromising the next set of corners. But if I'm on my own and I'm just trying to run as clean and quick a lap as I can, I'll bring the Porsche back over to the left. And braking for this turn. Now, if you look at the track map a little bit for this next series of turn, this is more than a 90-degree turn, and as we'll see, getting this braking right and getting through this corner and getting back to the gas as soon as you can and getting back to full throttle as soon as you can is probably one of the most important corners on the track, because it does lead onto a long straight. And the next corner you're going to be able to hold flat out. So for me, what I've been finding with the braking with me on the controller here is it's not quite at 200. It is just before it. For me, it seems to be right about, you can kind of see the break in the wall and the break in the catch fencing. At speed, you'll see just that gap kind of flash off screen. As soon as I see that off screen, that's when I'll start to brake. So it's not quite, it's still before the 2 board. It's past the 3, maybe about half distance. But when I start doing consecutive fast laps, and if you're watching, just watch for that gap to kind of flash off the left side of the screen, and watch when I start to brake. I think for me, that's about the latest. It may still be slightly early, but that's fine if it gets me through this next corner unscathed. So again, brake. I'm going all the way down to second here, and in turning through, you're going to try and get as late at apex as possible. Again, you can abuse the curb here. You can go on the other side of it. It's not going to upset this Macan all that much. But at the apex, you're going to see him. I'm going to nail the throttle out of here. Up to second, and I will use all of the road that the track limits will let me use. So I'm going to straddle this line here. Third gear, full throttle through here, all the way down the back straightaway. Now, Homestead, this track, that's pretty much what it is. It's 4 straights with some corners at either end. Slowly bringing the Porsche back over. Braking for the hairpin here is just as the 2 board goes out of range. So you'll see about the 2 board there. Again, looking at the track map, it's not a true paperclip hairpin. It's kind of, it's almost a double apex corner, but again, usually I'll tack this where I'll do most of my braking in a straight line, and I might have a slightly wider entry as I turn in if I'm my own. Roll back into the throttle, second gear, third gear, and I won't abuse track limits too much, but I will kind of hug the inside line there and just let the Porsche naturally drift out to the right here to the wall. This next corner, I'm going to tell you what my intention is. I don't have a specific method of like brake here, turn here. It's really me on the controller. I'm kind of chucking the Porsche into this corner, and praying that it comes out, that I come out on the other side fine. I don't think you're gonna ever see me do this next corner the same way twice. It's always going to look a little down, because it's that balance of I'm trying to carry as much speed through it as possible, without going off on the exit or cutting it too close to the inside for a time penalty. It's very easy to do, but the references I'm using for the turn-in is, you see all these palm trees here on the outside? As soon as it's for me, it's kind of between where this last palm tree ends and the next light pole on the outside. That's where I'm kind of going to chuck the car in. You're going to see me turn to the right. You might see me jab the brake a little bit. and I'm trying to get the back end to rotate out a little bit, if I can. And it's going to be kind of a nice slide, and if I've done it right, I am gonna go over the curb here, but hopefully, carry that speed out where it'll just carry out to the right side. It's kind of, again, as I'm just going to be chucking into the corner and praying, and hopefully I don't go too wide on the exit. But I will be in, let's see, fourth. Am I downshifting? Here's how my short-term memory is. I can't remember if I'm downshifting or not. I don't think so. I think I leave it in fourth, and I'm through here. And then getting down here, I don't have a specific braking point reference I can give you here, but this is definitely downshift, brake and downshift to third. Again, you can abuse this inside curve and roll back into the throttle. Now, for the final chicane, in my own practice, I've done it both ways. As far as gearing, I think this is a comfort thing. You can do this in third, or you can do this in second. At least in my own testing, if I got the chicane right, it didn't matter if I was in second or third on the exit. I was hitting about 106 miles an hour either way, crossing start finish. So I think, in third gear, going out onto the front straightaway here, the Macan's making almost 400 foot-pounds of torque. So it's turbo engine. It's got plenty of torque in the low end. So if the revs were any lower, I might then say has to be second. But I think that third gear is still just high enough where I think you can use it. Hashtag me personally, I'm going to drop it to second. It's kind of similar to what I was doing at Lime Rock on the alternate course with the chicanes. I'd rather drop it to second and get it up in the rev range to help with the engine braking and to help it just, the Porsche feels like it's a little bit more on its toes, and I can get it to get through these chicanes onto the front straightaway easier than if I'm in third. So that's a personal preference for me. See what works best for you, what you're most consistent with. So I'll be in second most cases, and I tend to like to eat a lot of the curbing here too. So I'm going to cross over as much as I can here. I'm going to use as much of the track as I'm allowed here if I can to get onto the front straightaway. Now, the banking, the angle. So what I'm going to look for here is, you can see, if you could see straight ahead practically, is the green course condition light. That is the reference point I'm looking at to try and get onto the front straightaway as smoothly as possible. Because I'm, once I hit the apex of the coming out of there, as you're pointing the Porsche out onto the front straight, if the center of your nose of the Porsche is to the right of that green course condition light, by the time you get to the transition back onto the banking, back onto the front straight, no matter how much steering you have in there, Porsche's going to go right. It's going to straighten out and go straight towards the wall, and then you're going to have to really pedal to get it turned. So you want to make sure that at minimum, center line of your nose is to the left of that green light as you're coming back onto the banking. And you can kind of even see it where, if you look at, you can see the definite angle change here, and it kind of smooths out as it gets past the green course condition light. So as far as getting your eyes up as you're getting onto the front straightaway, the more to the left of that green light you are, the better. I still like running a higher line to get out in the front straightaway versus hugging an inside line and maybe clipping the yellow paint on the front straightaway. That'll be up to you guys, what you think is best or what works best for you. For me, if you're crossing, maybe I'll try and play around with the mock race, but if you're crossing the finish line, on your line faster than 106 miles an hour, then that's probably the right line you want to use. But again, green course condition light. If your nose is pointed to the right of it, you're going to go straight into the wall. And who knows? Maybe I'll demo that at some point in the race. And then back onto the front straightaway. Second gear, third gear, back up to fourth. Bring it out to the wall, and that's a lap of Homestead road circuit. Again, track map. It's a bunch of straightaways with twisty bits at each end. All right. So what I'm going to do is let's go out. We're going to run a test race. We're going to run a mock race based on my own laps and kind of guesstimating a 35-minute-ish race with a quick stop. You're probably going to be looking maybe 22 laps. So if you want to practice a race distance, that's probably a good race distance to get used to. You do need to change the grid because this is a horsepower track and not a lot of momentum turns that I can take advantage of over the AI. I do need to adjust my starting because the A-class Porsches that are starting in front of me are just a tiny bit slower than me. And then the two classes starting behind me are much, much faster. So I'm actually going to start, let's start at 30 seconds. So I'll start 30 seconds behind the A-class Porsches, and then I'll have the S and R class starting at 55 and 60 seconds behind there. So I think we'll see how that works out. Nope, I don't want to let it save option. All right, 22 laps of Homestead. Let's see what we got. Actually, the other thing I want to check here while I'm in here. Yep, we could run. Oh, so it's day or rain, so there is no night racing. So hopefully it's a day race. This thing understeers enough, we don't need to add water. Doris, trees. Hurry up and wait. Yeah, on your out lap, depending on how far up the grid you're starting, you might not get into fourth at the start of the race. Yeah, you can see, and you just use the hell out of that curve. Porsche's like, no sweat. Here, look for the gap. All right, so here we go. First time. Check it in here and see what happens. What I'm going to do next lap is just to try and intentionally booger the final turn onto the front stretch just so you can see what happens when you don't have the nose pointed to the left of the green course condition. But I think we've all had it happen at some point or another. Pretty generous track limits. Though I don't know what the penalties are if you get it wrong, and certainly, with as close as the racing has been, be mindful that you're not putting yourself in a position where you're so far out in the edge that a nudge is going to push you off track and risk getting a penalty. Yeah, that's doing it wrong. That's actually doing it very wrong. But again, it's just the way the banking is. You need to find that point where the angle in the transition is not so severe, where you can get to full throttle and not have to worry about going into the wall. A little late on the entry there. There we go. That's a little bit of that four-wheel drift. Yeah, there's just no way I'm going to keep up with those guys. Difficult. I could make it find me though. You can kind of see on the transition in, there's kind of sliding, and then it just seems that I've scrubbed enough speed off. Where then it's almost like the fronts then kind of grip up again. problem. I just don't have the horsepower to outrun him down the straights. Middle. Yeah, I suspect there's going to be a lot of that on Thursday. I just saw the flying lizard Porsche kind of do something wacky, but he's going in the pit. Late. Inside a little more, but it's wide enough that then he's just going to go by me on the outside. No, I cut you off. Okay, maybe I deserve that. Holy crap, did he... That was the Carrera GT, wasn't it? We're going to hyperdrive here in a second. I got in there a little late. It was a little bit wide. Gentle, trail braking. Oh, gotta get the Porsche slowed down. It's nice of him to leave me a little room on the outside. Just got bump and run by the by the RSR. There's the big pig. There's the big pig. I'll let you go by too. Gotta make it thick. Yeah, I found all sorts of trouble. Oh, the pink pig just took himself out. So as always, I'm just going to take my quick step at the end of lap 11 here, halfway through. And again, you can use quite a bit of the inside of the track there over the white line without incurring a penalty. So definitely wide exit onto the backstretch here. But take that way inside. Honestly, just try and get it turned. Hopefully I get a chance to get a clean lap too before traffic back up. So pit exit, let's see. Here's first gear. Yeah, I would just say stay to the left through turn 1 and then merge back onto the racing line. I want to say I did a 135.8 practice. Really low 136 is kind of when I could get on my own and in good rhythm. But in the traffic, oh, that's going wide. Almost dropped the right side tires grass. A little bit late there as far as getting to the braking. And 360. That is 30. There you go. Just let's see, you're in a freaking 918 Spider. You shouldn't have any problems getting by him. They only get one more clean lap swing. And that was a little bit of fender lock. That's what happens when I'm trying to look and see what driver gear that driver car is wearing. Oops. Excuse me. contemplating if I want to try and get a gap. Much well. Step down on it. Oh, rewinding that. I want to try and get a clean lap. I don't know if I'll be able to. Traffic is spaced out just well enough. And I've got a much faster Porsche that's kind of stuck in traffic behind me. There, wasn't quite pointed to the left of the green light, but towards the wall. and that is Homestead Road Circuit. So hopefully you find this helpful. And again, the way this Macan is racing, it's going to be a lot of contact, especially in those slow corners, and again, I'm sure a lot of off tracks as well, just pushing it too wide, getting in the grass. So with that, I'm going to call it a night. I hope you guys have a good weekend and happy racing.